Hey y'all, APG Jamie here, and today we're gonna make some flippity floppities. Okay, let's go flippity flopping. I had this idea like early last year, 2018, and I wanted to make flippity floppies for a local swap that I host during the summer here, and I thought, well, you know, just make flip-flops. How hard can that be? And then lo and behold, there's a flip-flop pattern in the book of templates there that I showed. And so I took their pattern. I believe that's, I don't know. I would lie. Stamper Sampler Templates book, okay? So I took their pattern and adapted it for what I felt like my group would be able to do and have fun with. So I took my pattern that I created from their pattern, okay, and printed it out, and now I'm just putting some chalk on the back. Now you can use chalk for transfer, to transfer your image. You use white chalk if you're going on a darker background. You would use a darker chalk for a lighter background. Or a crayon too, I think. I guess it's been so many years since I did that. Or tracing paper, you know, carbon paper, graphite paper, what do they call that stuff? So I'm tracing around my image on, and I'm using a piece of faux chipboard, also known as food packaging, cereal box, mashed potato box, whatever kind of box. And I've got dotted line between the two. One is in the forefront and one is in the back, okay? Now we need to trim the dotted line, but we're going to leave the two connected. Now I'm darkening it here with a China pen, so also known as a grease pencil, I'm pretty sure is what they're called. And I'm darkening it so you guys can see it on the video. And there's a lot of cutting in this, and I try to cut out some of it. Now, I worked on this project 2, 3, 4 hours, you know, off and on throughout the day. And I made seven of my flippity flopping pair there, because that's a pair of flip flops, y'all. Okay. Now we're going to trim the dotted line. Now if you don't have a craft knife and you can't trim it, you can use a pokey tool or a tiny hole punch, which I'm getting out various types of hole punches, y'all. And I've decided I've been using the one upside down, but you know, so it goes. See, that one's just a little tiny hole punch, and you can poke tiny holes along that dotted line so that you can leave pencil marks, so you can draw, you know, the little shade between the upper and lower flip-flop. I hope that makes sense. And I'm just showing you that you can use pokey tool. And I will come back in a little while and trim it up with my craft knife, because that's what I have and that's what was easy for me. This is the one I think I've been using upside down. I do it so I can, but you know what? You can't see from the other side where you're poking the hole. Anyway, I got that big giant one now, and that's the one I mostly use these days. I don't know why I'm even keeping this one around the house, because I use the great big giant one. It's more butter. I like it more butter. Crop a dial. So here we go. I'm going to set, which one is it? I don't know. I got to set it and forget it, something like that. And those 3 dots are for where we attach, if you're going to attach a separate strap. You know, the strap that comes across the top of the foot and between the big toe and second toe there. On a flippity flop, y'all. So here we go. Now you can just poke, that's what I was showing, just take your pokey tool. Now I'm leaving them attached. I'm not cutting all the way to the edge, because I want to leave a sliver. You want to remove a sliver of the faux chipboard there, which I'm trying to do. I wasn't that successful, and I have to come back and do it again in a little bit. See how they're still attached? And later on we will be making a secondary type of template mask. It's actually more of a mask, so yeah, we'll see that in a little while. How am I doing on time? Oh, my voice is way out of sync, y'all. Way out of sync. Hey again, y'all. Had to pause my recording so I could catch up with the video. Any hoots. So we're moving along now, and I'm doing these are called master boards, when you take one sheet of whatever you're going to use and you decorate, paint, or otherwise decorate, enhance the paper to take your template out of. And in this case, I'm using some oxide inks because I have them, I love them, and I wanted to use them. Okay, now that's just a regular piece of copy paper I'm using to soak up the y'all, the extra bits on the table. This is the slapping dragon technique, y'all. There's a fair amount of heat gun, y'all. So there, I've got it dry now. It's all dry. You want to make sure if you're going to do it this way that your surface is dry. You don't have to do it this way. Now we are using 140-pound watercolor paper because it's sturdy, and we need something sturdy. All right. So we made our template. We traced our template onto food board so that we will have a sturdy template, and we are going to trace that onto our cards, our watercolor paper. In this case, our decorated, painted, inked up master board. Okay? Okay. Now, if you want to do Zen tangles or color pencils or whatever else, you can just cut out your pattern, you know, trace around it on your watercolor paper, and then do whatever you want to do to that, and there you go. Now, in a little while, I'll be showing different ways to do your straps, and you guys can figure out your own ways that works best for you. And you don't want to put a loose strap on there. Well, they're not loose, they're attached, but an extra separate strap on there. You are more than welcome to draw one. Okay? So like I said, there's a lot of cutting in this video, and I cut a lot out. Hopefully I trimmed enough out so you wouldn't get too terrible bored. So I may have leftover flippity flops, flippity floppin, flip flops. Say that 20 times. Slow. Erasing some of the pencil marks on there because I am just using a regular graphite pencil. And here comes my little big jump, or whatever that one's called. I don't know what it's called. I don't think I listed any of those tools in my ingredients, but you know I used them. Okay, now I need to trim out some more of that sliver. My scissors won't work in there, so I'm going to use the craft knife. When using a craft knife, please be careful, especially when your voice gets way out of sync with the video. More entertainment, y'all. So here I'm setting eyelets with that big chomper because it's an eyelet setter too. It pokes the little eyes and little teeny tiny eyelets, y'all. You don't have to use eyelets. You don't have them, don't use them. Because there's this is the only pair that I did that have the eyelet set in them. Okay? Okay. So this is just a beaded necklace that I got from the Dollar Tree, and it has little hearts on it. And I am going to use that for my strap. And I do try it various ways. So I'm threading both ends through the hole, through the eyelet, and I'm going to pull it taut over one of the hearts or beads, depending on what you're using, and then I'm going to tie it on the back, and that will secure that in place there. And I will essentially do that for all three spaces, or you know, all three adhesion places on this particular one, which I think this is the one in the background. It makes a difference for how you shade it, because I should have done my shading before I put my straps on there, but so it goes. I get better as I progress. Each one, you know, I do a little butter on getting things in the right order, and you know, maybe not being so confused and stuff. This is why we want to use 140-pound watercolor paper, because it's nice and sturdy. Okay, now I'm also going to be putting backs on these, which I'll show you guys that in just a little bit somewhere along the video. Like I said, I worked on these for several hours and I pretty much got it whittled down to under 35 minutes. According to the timer on here, it's right at 31 minutes, y'all. We'll call it 31, but under 35. Okay? Okay. And that's essentially it. You can decorate the flip-flops as much as you want. If you wanted solid color flip-flop, then make it solid color flip-flop. Okay? You can use beads, ribbons, fibers. I don't know what else. I mean, just, I would say hair, but I don't want to wear hairy flip-flops, y'all. I love flip-flops. I'm a flip-flop kind of girl, but y'all know that about me, don't you? So because this one was with the oxide inks, I'm going to use the purple oxide ink to add a little bit of a shadow in there. And I'm going to use a black watercolor pencil to add a deeper shadowing. Make your shadow shading however you like. You don't want to put them, I suppose you don't have to. It just does make them, you know, more distinctive as being one on top of the other kind of thing, in my opinion. And here we go. I'm using a water brush with the watercolor pencil. I'm trying to get some water in there. And you can see how it just pops that one up just a little bit. Just gives it just a little bit more dimension. Now I also put backs on these because I have all that strap tying stuff going on the background, and I don't want that hanging out looking all loose and taking the chance of getting caught and messed up on anything. So I just took black cardstock, traced my template on there, cut it out. And when you're cutting out for the piece to go on the back, you want to go just inside the pencil line when you're cutting it out. I'm putting glue all over. It happens to be my favorite Aleene's original tacky glue. And I'm going to stick my first Flipittty flop on there. I'm going to smoosh it out with my roller. I want to make sure it gets contact everywhere with the glue. So you don't have distress oxide inks, but you want to make a painty background, go ahead and make a painty background with acrylic paints. Do you want to use pastels? Yes, you may use pastels, but you better make sure you seal them because you don't want it rubbing off. Now, people don't want that pastels rubbing off on their hands. There's lots of ways you can do this. You can just do drawn images on there. Okay, so let your imagination expand. That's part of what this kind of project is. It's so you can expand your imagination and have fun playing, y'all. Tracing out another one. Putting in my divider line. I think this one we're going to use some modeling paste on it, which is where I will use a mask, and I make my mask out of just some black extra piece of cardstock I have laying around. I'm just going to add some shading. Probably didn't need to show y'all this kind of thing again, but so it goes, y'all. So it goes. It's kind of hard to change it once I've got it edited and I'm starting to do my voiceover that doesn't match up with the video anyway. Oh, it's so fun to be me, y'all. But I'm already taken, so you don't want to be me. Be you. The best be beautiful you can be. So here comes our modeling paste. This is some of that reese. I'm looking for palette knife. I couldn't even think of what it's called. So I'm just going to take that out with the palette knife and I'm going to smoosh it on the back of the tool I'm going to use, which happens to be, I think, a Bondo spreader, but I'm not sure. Now, as you can see, I have the forefront FlipFlop cut out from a piece of black cardstock. I'm using it as a mask so that I don't scrape my modeling paste onto the front FlipFlop. We will come to that in a little bit. So there's that. I'm going to set that aside, scrape up some of that extra. Actually, it looks like I smeared some more. Going to clean my the edge off my back Flippity Flop. Pull that off. As you can see, the texture is on the back one. We're going to clean our stencil really well because you don't want to leave modeling paste in it. I told you I used a scrap piece of black cardstock for my mask. So now that it's nice and dry, you want to make sure it is dry, y'all. Your modeling paste. I laid on that little piece on the back FlipFlop, and now I'm going to texture the top one, which you can see here. Now this particular type of modeling paste has a slight sheen to it, and it can be not sticky but kind of sticky, y'all, even after it dries. So I will end up putting some matte medium over it to keep things from sticking to it. Now your modeling paste will sometimes hang up on the edge of your paper, and that's just a fingernail file, and I'm filing down just the edge to knock off that excess modeling paste that happens to be there. And that's the matte medium I told you about. I'm going to let that nice and dry. Nice and dry. I'm going to add some ink around the edges. You can ink around the edges if you like. It does add just a little something to it. Okay? You don't have ink, then don't ink around the edges. Don't make this hard, y'all. It's supposed to be fun, entertaining, a way to expand your imagination and your craft abilities. Now, because I used the texture paste, I need to put my mark for my holes again. I'm using a black pen in this case. This pencil doesn't stick very well to the modeling paste. And I'm going to poke the hose again. Oh, I saved you from that this time. I'm going to use a ribbon on this one. Nice plain ribbon from the Dollar Tree, y'all. They have fun stuff down at the Dollar Tree. I'm just putting an angle on there, and I'm just going to stick it in the holes. I get a little fiddly with this. I don't know what I'm doing. I figure it out. And that's what this demo is for. So that you don't necessarily have to figure it out. You can just kind of see how I'm doing it. But you just do the way it works for you. I appreciate each and every one of you. Your kind comments, your likes, your subscriptions, your shares, your kind comments. And if you've not already subscribed to me, I would like to take a moment and invite you to do so at this time. Now, don't forget to click on that little gray bell, because that will give you notifications of new videos and when I go live. But here's the deal with that. I think you have to click it on, then off, then back on again, because the first time you click it, it tends to just be occasional notices. So you have to click it off and then click it back on, and I think that's all notifications. But I'm not going to swear to it, because you know, the platform of YouTube changes because it can do that. Okay? Just saying, it can do that. And as you can see, I am adhering tape again to the back to hold the ribbon pieces in place. It makes a cute pair. But the pair, I think this is the pair my husband liked it the best. Liked it. It is a real word. Okay? Liked it. And we're fixing to add, use an embossing folder to add embossed texture to both the front and the back. So that's the folder I'm going to use. It's got like some pansy flowers on it, and I'm going to cut out just one FlipFlop for the front piece. I think I spare you from that, but you can see I'm cutting it out of my same paper. Okay, and I'm using the front one because it's actually going to be taller, and I want to make sure it actually does stand up a little bit. See? And this is the best way to do it, or the best results I've had, is to spritz just a little bit of water, not much. I come back and spritz again on the front. I think I probably have to figure out what's the best sandwich here for my embossing, because I always seem to have to refigure it out every time. So we're going to run it through. Oh, now it's too tight. Oh, you guys. The struggle is real. There we go. Now I'm not worried about the top one sticking out because we're actually going to emboss the other piece for that. I want the embossing on the second flip-flop. Then we're going to spritz the top of that one, slinging off any extra water. And I'm going to fit it in there so that the majority of the whole thing is in there. We're going to run it through. And the reason for the slight mist of water is you get a better, deeper embossing without your paper ripping or otherwise cutting. Now we're back on the desk, and I'm just going to put glue on the back of the top flip-flop there. Just smooshing the glue dot around. I'll be bringing in my flip-flop any minute. My pair of flip-flops, because it's just one piece, but it's a pair of them. But y'all can see that. Where is it? Coming up any day now. There we go. So there we go. Now it's on top. I'm going to bring it up to the camera just a moment, I do believe. I'm lining it up. Doesn't have to be perfect. Trim off any little extra bits that may be sticking out. I'm going to roller it on, but I'm not pushing really hard because I don't want to take my embossing out. Can you see it? Can you see it? And then I go on to add shading and repunch my holes and put a strap on it. Now we're going to move on, and if you just have some beads and you want to string some beads for a strap, you certainly can do that. And that's what I'm doing here. These happen to, I picked up a bag of, I don't know, beaded old broken necklaces or something from some store somewhere, because y'all know how I love Clarence. Oh, Clarence, he's so good to me. And this wasn't Clarence. This was probably a charity shop, secondhand shop, antique store, something, but probably not such an antique. But anyways, so yeah. And I'm just using some crochet cotton thread there, and I'm going to put on a smaller bead and tie a few knots. I think I tied 3 of them. Now I'm leaving a generous tail there because I'm going to be putting that through one of the holes and trimming off the other end so I can put on a tiny bead there, and the same thing, add a few knots. So I've gone ahead and made a loop in my center toe piece. I'm going to center that up with a little spacer bead there, and going to draw that in tight and tie a knot to more or less secure it, but it doesn't secure it because the knot's a lot smaller than the hole. But I have another plan for that. We're going to put our tape on there. And there we go with that. And then we will pull through our other ends and tie those two together. Makes a darling little strap, I think. So there, see, adorable. And we're going to move on, and this happens to be, you know, just a Mardi Gras bead, more or less like the hearts, only these are round, and I just cut that apart. And you can pick these up typically from the Dollar Tree or other 99-cent store, King Dollar, General, I don't know, cheap stores, y'all. These are not toys. These flippity flopping swapping things that we're making. They're not toys, so don't let kids play with them because they have choking hazards. And as you can see, they're not permanently affixed, and they could come apart and choke a little child. And we don't want to do that. No, we don't. So there, I'm just threading them on again. And this, I've got my two ends, and I'm putting my toe piece in. And it's just kind of fiddly, but it's very doable. If I can do it with my fiddly hands, y'all can do it. I'm sure you can. Sure of it, y'all. I guess I could have cut some more out or sped it up even more faster. Oh well, we have enough issues with our voiceover out of sync, and I know it's not very professional, but so it goes in my line of work. Okay? Enjoy what you do. Do what you enjoy. And I am. And I hope you are too. So now we're tying all the strings. Well, we're tying among the different strings together. And then I will put some tape on there to secure them all down. And that's why I, made another set out of the black and adhered it on the back. I will be able to sign my name on here with a white pen or a white label or anything like that. So there we go. And that's just the kind of tape I happen to have on my desk. If you don't have that kind of tape, then use a different kind of tape. You don't have any tape, use some glue, y'all. Now I decided let's try some embossing on here. Now I didn't just go with embossing. I'm going to use sticky embossing powder, and you stick some foil on there, y'all. That's what I'm going to do. Did it come out great? Perfect? No, it didn't come out perfect. It came out interesting, and that's okay. These are flip-flops. And if you've ever bought a pair of flip-flops, you know they're not necessarily perfect. Okay? And you get to wear them. Okay, and I've got with the sticky embossing powder, you want everything ready before you get started. So I used my anti-static. I'm heating up my heat gun, y'all, because you want it nice and warm. Get my stamp away on there. Okay, gonna put my embossing ink on there. Sprinkle my sticky powder on there. Tamp it off. Brush away any extraneous, I'm not pronouncing it right. Texican, y'all. Bits of sticky embossing powder. And heating it up, melting it. Did you see that magic? It's like magic. Y'all see how quick that is, right? Laid that on there. Now I'm smooshing it down. I have just an old kitchen towel. Cross some fingers that it works, y'all. Ta-da! It worked pretty good. It's not perfect, but then again, watercolor paper is not smooth. All right, and it may have worked better if I'd have put on some matte medium first to seal up the watercolor paper. So I'm using the mask again, so I can stamp the back part, the back heel, the flip-flop on the bottom there, without getting the embossing ink everywhere. I still got a little bit on there, but that's okay. And it's the sticky powder, not the same as regular powder, but you can use, you can emboss whatever you want to do, y'all. Make your flippity floppin' flip-flops yours. Okay, I love these swaps that we have locally, y'all. I do. Y'all's imagination is just surprises me and makes me happy every time. Just like all my friends online, they do amazing stuff, and it's just like, wow, I wish I'd have thought of that. Just saying, because it's true, really true. So there's some more of the heart straps that I did on there. Now I'm going to put some matte medium or varnish on top of that just to hold it in place. Now we're having the show off. See, this is the one with the texture, you know, the embossing folder texture, and it's got eyelash trim on it. And this is the one with the Mardi Gras bead, Mardi Gras. And that has just some kind of trim that I have. Okay? Use what you have. Use your imagination. Make it work. You can do it. Fancy them up. Draw on them. Do some Zentangles, y'all. And there we go. It's about time for... See, there's the back. I put the back on all of them because I want them to look nice. Photo montage. I know I said it earlier, but it is still true. I appreciate each and every one of you. Your valuable time is precious to me. Thank you. And it's just getting a closer look. I hope everybody enjoyed this. And don't forget, you can adapt patterns for your own needs. Just don't claim them as your own. Thanks for watching. And happy arting, y'all.